They do have to close the school. So, okay, then, why? So you saying, we they saying that bomb testing is more important than people. But that's not affect it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Me? Yeah, I am signed in. Uh-oh, 1 second. Get started in a minute. Dealing with some technical difficulties here.
Are you showing me? I just, okay.
All right, let's do that again. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the July 9th Community Development Human Services Committee meeting. I am Jason Winston, chair of the committee. I am joined on my left by Councilmember Matt Westmoreland, and to my right, we have Councilmember Andrea Boone, and vice chair to my immediate right, Councilmember Jason Dozier. This does constitute a quorum, so I will call the meeting to order. I will now make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Dozier. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Now I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. I have a second by Councilmember Westmoreland. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to the public comment section of our meeting. We only have one speaker signed up today. We have Prophet Curtis Martin Hairston. Mr. Hairston, you'll have 3 minutes.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
God is good. Actually, I do appreciate some of the things I'm hearing about homelessness, or we appreciate some things we hear about homelessness, but I'm still seeing African-American women that are with children that are homeless, walking up down the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, DeKalb County. And I always say that. And also my nickname is Tony. I am also concerned about the water. I know we just had a utilities meeting, because that's like saying if you're homeless and you got to walk past a pot of water this high because it just rained for 3 minutes, that's going to determine how you live the rest of your day. Now, I am very concerned about what's going on with the Cop City, and how our mayor gave money to the money that was allocated for homelessness to Cop City. So I'm looking into that, and I'm very concerned, and I'm very knowledgeable of what's going on. And also, I'm surely glad that he didn't make it a crime to be homelessness, because I surely would have been at your door. How you gonna make it a crime for someone to panhandle, or someone? Shouldn't we be helping these people? Or shouldn't we be helping the people that are homeless instead of trying to make more homeless people? I mean, because now, you know what the Bible says. If you lend to the poor, you are a friend of God. And he also says the poor you have with you always, but if you ignore the poor, God will ignore you. That's scripture. Now, I'm not talking just to be talking. Now, at the same time, we have police officers that want to shoot down people like Johnny Hardiman that was shot down or tased to death on the streets of Atlanta. Now, again, like I've been saying, was we cannot allow this city, Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, to make a crime to be homeless, or for a person to live on your sidewalks because that person pays taxes. And in regard to these last 20 seconds was, I was in a car accident again, and people quote unquote, like to follow me up and down the street. You know, I don't know if I got a court date or had a court date. You know, accident after the car accident in between me paying my car insurance. So hoping that there's no foul play to that.
Thank you. Time has expired.
You know. So, all right, God bless. Y'all have a good day.
All right, thank you. So I just want to point out, we do have a public comment section on our agenda for a public hearing. So I think we have one other speaker. I don't know if you signed up for that specific item, or did you want to join our general public? Are you Brother Ty? Yeah. Okay. Did you sign up for that item on the agenda, or did you want to do our normal public hearing, or public comment?
I came yesterday and I didn't get.
Please come on up.
Oh, thank you so much.
You'll have 3 minutes, and if you could come to the podium and state your name.
I appreciate it.
Hello, can everybody hear me? I want to just thank all of the council members for your efforts and things of this nature. And, you know, I've been coming for the last couple weeks just to kind of observe and hear. And as a concerned citizen, I've been working with a group of students in the Atlanta University Center. And as the gentleman was discussing homelessness, and not even just homelessness, but the inner city youth just kind of running about throughout the city, we've put together a proposal that we want to share with each one of the council members. And, you know, it's tied to Scouts of America. You know, we want to get the youth back engaged with just understanding nature and give them a balance to the technology infiltration that they are experiencing. And you can kind of hang around them just for a brief moment and just hear the thought process and recognize as a concerned citizen that there needs to be a little bit more of a balance. So I just wanted to highlight this. I'm going to be looking to forward this to you all via email. And we want to work with, I guess it's Council Member Byron Amos. That's District 3, right? Because that's over by the Atlanta University Center. And we have a nonprofit effort that we've put together. And we're going to be looking to work through Morris Brown College and their nonprofit management certification program and address some of the issues that Mayor Andre Dickens highlighted while he was campaigning about, you know, working with the inner city youth and getting them more engaged and hopefully even helping out with homelessness and tending to them and giving food and services through Scouts of America and that type of thing. So I just wanted to highlight that. And thank you guys for hearing that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you want to state your name and give a plug to your nonprofit before you walk away?
Oh, Society for Improved Democracies. Again, my name is Brother Williams. You can call me Ty or James. I prefer James nowadays as I'm getting a little bit older, but Brother Williams. And like you said, Society for Improved Democracies. Society for Improved Democracies. And we're actually looking to motion for a 2026 HBC Olympic Games to culminate this project for the inner city youth. Get the youth engaged, get their minds working towards a common goal. You understand what I'm saying? If you see that they're interested in social media, we have some things that we think they can all plug into and work to some projects and things and get themselves just contributing to the community and valuing the community and valuing nature more. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate it. That does conclude our public comment section of our agenda. Colleagues, we do have 3 appointments that are here on the communications section of our agenda. So if you will indulge them, we'll go to that section of our agenda, and then we'll come back for our presentations.
One moment while we let eBoardroom take a breath. For the next few minutes, we'll proceed with voice votes on things, if that's all right with the committee.
Works for us. We'll keep it moving.
Okay. Item number 3 is 24C 5092, a communication from council members Marcy Collier Overstreet, District 11, and Antonio Lewis, District 12, appointing Mr. Swampan Kumar to serve as a member of the Atlanta Urban Design Commission in the neighborhood representative category. This appointment is for a term of 3 years.
Mr. Kumar, if you don't mind coming to the podium, telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this appointment.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for the honor of being able to do this. I've seen over the years many positive changes in the city. I've been here about 25 years. And along with the positive changes, I've also seen developments and other things which have brought blight and which are also not reflective of the character and legacy of the neighborhoods that they're in. I hope to use my background and skills, work with other members of the commission, get input from city officials, and make wise decisions. First and foremost, respecting the rights of private property owners and Atlanta citizens in making good decisions. I've been, I think, here in Atlanta about 25 years. I came here with a full head of hair as a young man. I've got 3 kids now. My wife works here as well in the city. And I think Brother Williams just said, you know, I don't have that many hair left anymore. But that does indicate that I have a good amount of experience, and I really hope I can use that. And I'm pleased to serve the city that has given me so much in any capacity. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? I have a motion to approve by Councilmember Dozier. I will second that motion, and it looks like we will need a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, congratulations.
Takes us to item number 5, 24C 5094, a communication from council member Jason Winston appointing Mrs. Maggie McCullum to serve as a member of the Atlanta Commission on Aging. This appointment is for a term of 4 years, scheduled to begin on the date of council confirmation.
Thank you. Ms. McCullum, you don't mind coming to the podium, telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this appointment.
Good afternoon. I am Maggie McCullum, and I am truly grateful for an opportunity to be of service. I work hard in what I do. I'm dedicated to others. And when you help others, it doesn't go unnoticed. Somebody's always watching. It brings me pleasure just to be a servant. Actually, I can be a strong voice for those that are silent. I can walk through the world with confidence and be there to equip those that need it the most. I want to march for a purpose. I want to march for my passion, and I want to march for greatness for one and for all. I have been in Atlanta over 4 decades. I'm a single mother, 1 son, 6 grandsons, 3 great-grands. I know I don't look it, but it's here. And I would like to thank you, Councilmember Winston, for actually thinking of me to be in this place to help our seniors, because we all need a little help. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll ask if any questions or comments from my colleagues. And just want to thank you for willingness to serve in this committee and being a strong voice and advocate in District 1. So thank you so much, Ms. McCullum. I'll make the motion. We have a second from Councilmember Dozier. If you will please, vote's not ready, so I guess all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, congratulations, you are confirmed. Yes! Now, it still goes to full council on August the 5th, but you like your odds. Yes. Yes, he is.
That will take us then to number 38, which would be 24C 5084, a communication from Mayor Andre Dickens appointing Mr. Stephen Parker to serve as a member of the Fulton County City of Atlanta Land Bank Authority. This appointment is for a term of 4 years.
Mr. Parker, if you don't mind coming to the podium and telling us a little bit about yourself and all the great things you've been doing.
Good afternoon, council members. Pleasure to be here today. Stephen Parker, been a resident of the city since 2016 and a proud member of the Westview community in Council District 4, sir. I used to be a city attorney here, senior city attorney, where my portfolio included handling real estate matters for the Parks Department and Enterprise Asset Management. And so I drafted the deeds to give APS those properties back. Was involved in the Gulch real estate. Whether you're happy or not about it, I was just doing my job. And also the Gulch, a lot of the title work and real estate matters with the Gulch, and also Piedmont Park expansion. So with that real estate background, I think this is an appropriate place for me to have another opportunity to serve the city. So I thank you for your consideration, and I want to thank Mayor Dickens for nominating me. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from my colleagues? We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Boone, second by Councilmember Dozier. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And then number 33 is 24C 5075. One moment. That is a communication from Pierre Gaither, Executive Director, Atlanta Board of Education, submitting the appointment of Ms. Cynthia Briscoe Brown to serve as a member of the Atlanta Beltline Affordable Housing Advisory Board. This appointment is for a term of 2 years.
Board Member Briscoe Brown, if you don't mind coming to the podium and telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this position.
Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to allow me to do that this afternoon. I'm Cynthia Briscoe Brown. I have the privilege of serving in Seat 8 at large on the Atlanta Board of Education, where this is my 11th year. I served as the APS appointee to the Atlanta Beltline Inc. Board for several years, and am now excited about joining the Beltline family again on the Affordable Housing Advisory Board. I'm particularly excited about the opportunities for partnership between Atlanta Public Schools and the Beltline to develop and provide affordable housing for both our employees, our students and their families, and the community at large. We have recently finished our facilities master plan, and so we have some very specific opportunities in that area. Our number one priority for use of our vacant and surplus properties right now is affordable housing, and the interaction and engagement with the Beltline on that issue is something that's a real passion of mine.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I'll make the motion to approve. Second. I have a second. Councilmember Norwood. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Colleagues, this takes us to the presentation section of our agenda. We have two presentations today. Our first is the quarterly update from Invest Atlanta, and we bring up CEO Dr. Clementich.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So yes, my name is Dr. Eloisa Clementich. I'm proud president and CEO here at Invest Atlanta. So today's presentation is going to focus on two areas. I'll give you an update on the Small Business Recovery Loan Fund, and then I'm going to give an update on the tax allocation districts with Jennifer Fine. So the first one is just a reminder about the grants. These were grants that we provided to small businesses post the water disruption service, and we opened up the application period. So the application was opened up for two specific areas of businesses eligible. Were both within registered businesses with both the Boyle advisory maps, one map May 31st and then another map June 3rd. We heard from businesses loud and clear that some were impacted more than others, so we prioritized certain NAICS codes based on their impact as a result of the water disruption. So restaurants, beauty salons, daycare centers were prioritized, or are going to be prioritized, I should say. And then we looked at not only that, but we looked at number of days impacted and then what the size was of the business. Based on the size of the business would determine the amount that business, let me restate, depending on the size of the business and how many days they were impacted would depend on how much funds that they'd receive. And I'm just reviewing this very quickly since I'm sure you've heard it a couple times. So just a reminder that this has probably been one of the fastest programs that I've ever implemented. City Council voted on June 17th for us to create this fund. We launched our first webinar on June 17th. I also want to report that we we did over 4 media interviews with TV and radio and newspaper. We issued a press release about the application period to businesses. We performed many visits to businesses in particular, but we went with 6 businesses with the mayor to actually talk to them, promote the fund, et cetera. We hosted over 7 webinars, some on our own, some with different associations. So we did one in Kirkwood, we went to Pittsburgh Yards. I mean, we were all over the place. We touched at least 150 people through these webinars. We then did email campaigns. We started off with, in June 3rd, letting people know that this was coming. I'm sorry to click that. And then we did the 6 email campaigns, which resulted in over 10,000 emails actually opened. So we're going to track our people actually looking at our emails. Then we did social media campaign. We actually paid for some social media campaign. We believe we reached over 57,000 people, users, to let them know about the opportunity to apply for these funds. And then we mailed postcards to everyone within the Boyle Advisory area. Our website, I'd just like to highlight that our website received over 7,000 different times it was visited by over 3,000 users. In terms of perspective, that's a 42% increase in traffic to our website. So what this told us was that we were getting the word out, people were hearing about it. So the applications closed yesterday, and I just want to highlight this was very initial, hot off the press information, since literally they closed yesterday, so I've had some of my data people pulling it together. So 894 applications were either started or submitted. 536 were actually submitted. I had them run the 536 that were submitted. 61% of those came from our targeted priority NAICS codes. So if you break that down, 36% of those that submitted were restaurants, full restaurants, 12% were limited restaurants, so think about coffee shops, juice shops, and then 8% were beauty salons. I asked them to do a breakdown so I could share with you what type of business, what size of business. 261 businesses were less than 500,000 in revenue. 76 businesses were 500 to $1 million in revenue, and then 199 of those who actually submitted were over $1 million. So we're thinking right now that depending on what exactly they've applied for, how many days that they've been impacted, we think we're going to be somewhere around $5 to $6 million expended as a result. That's assuming we still have to go through all of the data and information, but we think we'll be somewhere around that ballpark. What we were excited to see is, if you remember, this council allowed, and the mayor allowed us to add $2.5 million for an employee segment of this. We believe, based on the information submitted, again, we're deep diving into it, that there'll be over 5,000 employees that may be impacted. That means that each employee will get $200, so that would be about a $1.1 million to the employees that were impacted. So I think that the program not only will help the businesses that you asked us to definitely help, but also some of the employees that weren't able to, or that were impacted by a lack of revenue that they would receive. So where we are now for anybody who's watching in terms of next steps. So applications closed yesterday. We are bringing in an Invest in Atlanta team on Saturday and Sunday to review applications. Our goal is to start notifying businesses the week of July 29th, whether they've been awarded. I would ask any business that's watching, check your neighborly portal. That's where you submit your applications to. That's how we're going to communicate with you. Once you get notified that you've been awarded, then you have to do two things. You have to fill out your grant agreement and then send us your wiring information, and that's it. We'll be sending the funds to you. So if you like, I could take questions on this program now, or I can jump into TAD and then take questions, whichever you'd like.
I think we'll keep going and then
All
we'll
right,
do questions
Jennifer.
at the end. Thank you.
Here we go. Good afternoon. There we go. My name's Jennifer Fine again. So I think I was last here in May giving the TAD quarterly update. From a project standpoint, nothing has really changed since then. We had one board meeting where we brought an existing project back, so no new projects. So I'm going to kind of just quickly recap the projects we've done thus far, and then happy to answer any questions and deep dive into them if you'd like that. So as I do each quarter, I provide a map, mostly for viewers, folks that aren't as familiar with the TADs, to show where they are, but also to reiterate that the next TAD that we anticipate being in a position to close is still Atlantic Station, and we are on track financially to have all of the outstanding debt obligation done with that by the end of 2025. So we will keep you posted if anything changes, but again, just want to reiterate that that is a priority for us. So this is the snapshot of projects that have been approved thus far in 2024. We've approved 11 projects in 4 TADs, representing, again, a wide variety of project types and locations. $13 million has been awarded, which has leveraged about an additional $157 million in private investment to the City of Atlanta. You can also see, obviously, this has helped generate, or will help generate, 555 new housing units, of which 486 will be at affordable. And the affordability here is really important to get a little deeper into. This is 30% of area median income to 80% of area median income. We really see the TAD as kind of the cherry on top incentive, and so we leverage that to the best of our ability to drive and get as much affordability as we can for the longest term. This just provides an overview map of the location of the project, so you can see kind of the diversification of geography. This is a snapshot that provides more detail about each of those 11 projects. If you want to, get into the numbers, square footage of commercial, all of that kind of information, it's meant to just be a standalone document for you all. And then the next 3 slides, I'm just going to talk about a few projects that we've actually approved over the last few months. The first of which is a pedestrian scale multifamily development in Chosewood Park, immediately south of the Beltline Southside Trail. This project was awarded a $3 million Beltline TAD grant, as well as some additional funding layers. It was awarded to the Benoit Group and Atlanta Housing as part of a $84 million investment for a 200-unit multifamily development. Important here to note that this property will be leased by Atlanta Housing to the developer for 75 years, so that preserves and protects that affordability for that duration. So it's important for this project, as well as real estate that Invest Atlanta gets involved in, wherever we can lease the property for a long term. That's what we like to do to preserve that affordability to 75, 99 years if we can. And then below is a much smaller scale infill new construction development in English Avenue, adjacent to Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. It's 24 units. A $640,000 Westside TAD grant was awarded to the Westside Future Fund to do this project, and we expect it to be complete by the end of next year, or by the middle of next year, actually. Project on top is also new construction, new infill construction in Castleberry Hill, adjacent to Mercedes-Benz Stadium at 420 Chapel Street. $1 million Westside TAD grant was awarded to the developer who's going to be building 50 new multifamily units, all of which will be affordable, ranging from 50% of area median income to 80% area median income. So we love the infill developments that are maximizing small acreages to maximize housing units. And then the project at the bottom, just across the street from us, is an innovative reimagining of Trinity United Methodist Church. A $2 million Eastside TAD grant was awarded for a nearly $30 million project that will allow the church to continue with its regular services and activities, but it will add, as you can see, a residential tower that will contain 54 housing units for residents 55 plus. All but 6 of those units will be affordable at 30 to 80% of area median income. Item on top, and this was brought up earlier in terms of Beltline and the importance of housing affordability and land. This is Garson Drive multifamily development, which will have direct access to the Beltline's Northeast Trail. Developer for this project was selected through an RFP process that was managed by ABI. This will be a $60 million new construction project to create 130 units of multifamily housing, ranging from 50% to 80% of area median income. Also a requirement to have about 10,000 square feet of commercial affordability, which is hugely important citywide, but especially in and around the Beltline. And then the last image on the bottom is a project, City of Refuge Transformation Center in historic West End Heights, Bankhead neighborhood. New construction on a large vacant lot that will do several things kind of packed into one building. But when complete, it'll be about 37,000 square feet, including 25 housing units and about 8,000 square feet of commercial and amenity space on the bottom. So it will have affordability on the residential component and affordability on the commercial component. So we're thrilled about this project because of the developer and our partnership with the developer, the services that they provide, and the location as well. All units will be between 30 and 80% of area median income. And I think that's it. And so I guess we're here to answer questions on either of those topics.
Thank you very much for the quarterly update. I'm going to kick off questions to my colleagues here. So we'll start off with Councilmember Matt Westmoreland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to both of you for your presentation. A couple questions and comments on both subjects. First, I'm glad we increased the dollar amount to $7.5 million. Second, some has been said, mostly during public comment, about the window that the application period was open. And it seems to me, between the significant media coverage, the outreach that you all did, and the mailings, that to the extent people wanted to take part, seems like they probably had an opportunity to. Is that your sense as well? Are you concerned at all?
Yeah, we were monitoring that quite closely, because if we needed to extend, we were okay extending. The impact would be is we wouldn't be able to get the funds out as quick. So we were trying to balance expediency, but also give people enough time. The reason why we decided to move forward with the closing as of yesterday was because we received 10 people either emailed us or called us saying they would like an extension. I appreciate that, but that really wasn't enough for us to extend it even more. So at this point, we ended up closing.
What? Give us a sense of how long it took to fill out the application.
So we timed actually one individual. We just randomly took one individual that we saw, sat down, and then submitted on the same 20 minutes. It took 20 minutes for that individual to start their application and then push submit. So as long as they had all the documents that we had listed, it was a pretty fast process. Compared to other applications that we have, it takes much longer, but this one we try to make it as simple as possible.
Okay, and then one final comment about one of the documents. I've heard from a couple of small businesses who had some challenges around procuring their business license from the city, and so I assume that the way we're measuring it is so long as you had a business license by 5 p.m. on July 8th that you would qualify for this. And so I hope that's the approach we're taking.
Thank you for your comments. I will take that into consideration. No, that's not the way we have it right now. We had it as you had to have your business license prior to the event occurring, but I will ensure to take that back as long as there's no legal concern. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, my personal 2 cents is if a business was impacted, we should help them, especially if they're in compliance right now.
Noted. Thank you.
Couple questions on the TAD front. What is the month that Atlantic Station is slated to close
December,
of 24?
Atlantic Station?
Yeah, December of 2024 or 2025?
2024. Okay.
All right. Good to know. And then my second question on the last slide, or my final question, on the last slide of the appendix, especially in Perry Bolton and the stadium, and to a lesser extent, Campbellton and Hollowell, there's some pretty significant fund availability there. And I'm curious about what kind of pipeline work we're doing.
Yeah, so that is a great observation and a great question, because it's only been honestly within the last 12 to 18 months maybe, because those have been very flat TADs, absolutely. Metropolitan still is a challenge, but yes. And so once we started seeing that uptick, so there's a few things. In those 4 TADs, we had historically really only had one program that was open, and that was our Small Business Improvement Grant, which we've basically expanded recently with our Wells Fargo program, which runs through the end of this year. So the idea and our intent and what we will do is open up a bigger, more robust small business improvement grant program 2.0, if you will. So learning what we've learned through the Wells Fargo Open for Business process to provide more funding. So that's one. So that's on the small business side. But then we also are going to launch in all 4 of those TADs a Resurgence Grant program, which is a program that we've had in our East Side and West Side and in Perry Bolton. That's basically construction projects. We've never had that before in these TADs. So the idea there is that we will have an open rolling application to apply for grants to help with construction financing for projects, and it would offer grants between $500,000 and $750,000, at least initially. But the idea is to kind of monitor based on pipeline. Some of these are more robust. Obviously, Hollowell and Campbellton align with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhoods and Priority Neighborhoods, and so we're working in lockstep with that staff on neighborhood objectives and needs, and there's very clear connection between these TADs being a financing resource. So the pipeline here is much more robust. We're thinking through some, honestly and in full candor, the stadium TAD is the one where we have to really think strategically and creatively how to best use those dollars, because there's need, but that one's accumulated more, I think, than anybody really anticipated because of all the growth in Summerhill and around there. So we're going to be launching new programs, I think, is the very long-winded answer to your question.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll take questions from Councilmember Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No questions today. I just have just 2 comments. One, I just want to thank you, Dr. Clementis, and your staff and your team just for all the hard work on getting this legacy business program off the ground. I introduced legislation at our meeting last week. I know it'll be before the Finance Committee tomorrow, and it's the culmination of almost 2 years of work and discussing and trying to make this thing happen. And so just thank y'all for all y'all's support. I know we still have some I's to dot and some T's to cross in terms of the implementation of the program, but I just want to appreciate. I just am very appreciative of the work y'all put in, and several of our longtime business owners, at least in my district, businesses have been around for 40, 50, 60 years. In some cases, have reached out to me directly and shared how excited they are that this program is coming to the City of Atlanta, pending approval by the Finance Committee. I'm looking at my Finance Committee folks to the left of me, but just want to say thank you so much for your support in that, and to Amber Ray Robinson and others who have helped make this reality. The other comment that I had, I miss serving with y'all on the Invest Atlanta board, and one of the things that I know I've brought up from time to time, either on the TAD subcommittee or in the full meeting, Just want to reiterate here, the city of Atlanta, I appreciate the work that we're doing around ensuring that we're baking in as much affordability and affordable housing as possible in these projects that are taking city funding or public funding, whether it's through the TAD process, whether it's through IRFA and other sort of incentive programs. Just want to reiterate, there's a lot of different, a lot more public goals that we have beyond affordable housing. I know we were trying to address issues around climate change, and we just did a heat vulnerability assessment just last year. There's an ongoing conversation right now about the tree protection ordinance and trying to not just preserve our tree canopy, but expand it. And of course, I'm always going to harp about looking at intentionality around how much parking is available in some of these development sites, particularly near transit, particularly near the Beltline. I just want to reiterate that as y'all are working with these developers and doing the work to ensure that we have a strong and sufficient pipeline, just continue to be sure that we're looking at all these sorts of initiatives that we have as a city to ensure that each development that we're supporting through public funding is being intentional, being holistic, and is moving our city in a direction in which we know we want to move. So just wanted to share that, since I can't bring it up in a board meeting anymore, but I wanted to just make sure that I had a chance to mention that. But thank y'all so much for all y'all have done.
Councilmember Dozier. Next, we'll go to Councilmember Boone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all so much. Just wanting to reiterate troubleshooting those applications that may have had an issue with the city of Atlanta. Make sure that we do not just put their applications to the side if they did have an issue with business license, because that has been an issue over the past 3 or 4 months. Just wanted to make sure that we do our due diligence in helping those businesses that were inconvenienced. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boone. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I just want to thank you all. I was laughing with Councilmember Dozier and Westmoreland, 2 former Invest Atlanta board members, asking me how many times had I seen this presentation, because they know being on the board, we get this information fed to us a lot. But it's important because you all make sure that board members are informed and have the tools that we need to push these decisions forward for the city of Atlanta. Also, kudos to your team, Jeff Morris, Kelsey Manor, folks who really helped with this rapid relief program. I don't know if they're in the room, but I know you had an incredible team that helped put this together very quickly and turn it around. Maybe it wasn't flawless, but it was very good, and I think that a lot of folks who are benefiting from it will greatly get the benefits, will greatly benefit from it. And so, just thanking you all for that. And then, if there are no more questions or comments, thank you all.
Thank you.
So, colleagues, we have one more presentation for today. Atlanta Housing is doing their quarterly update. Don't see CEO, but I see Mr. Dwayne Vaughn.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dwayne Vaughn, and I get the privilege of serving as the Chief Operating Officer of Atlanta Housing under our leader, Terry Lee, who is taking vacation today. So that's why she's not with you, and that's why you get a chance to be with me, or vice versa. We are excited to bring you our report. There's been a lot of exciting things happening at Atlanta Housing, and we want to start by saying we appreciate the support that we've gotten from this committee and from the council, that this challenge we have for affordability is not a challenge we can do alone. We need partnerships at every level, and so we want to start by saying that. You see on the cover a picture of what we call Roosevelt Hall, that is also our choice neighborhood that's being developed over there, and we're excited. We think that housing should be a platform to help families gain economic independence, and for seniors to help them gracefully age in place with safety and dignity. And so that's sort of how we're shaping all that we are trying to do. So on the, oh, I'm supposed to do this, huh? Okay. All right, thank you. On this page, we always like to show who we are serving. And so we are serving about 26,000 families. We are serving about 220 million, almost $250 million of assistance if you look at the statistics that are there, but the statistic I like is that our average household income of families we serve is about $16,000. And so we are serving those that need it the most. When we look at 2024, our fiscal year just closed on June 30th. We wanted to give you some of the highlights of what we've done. You see that we're serving youth, we're serving adults, we're serving seniors, and you see those numbers there. One of the programs that we really are proud of is our program where you see that number 514, and that talks about families that we have saved from homelessness. And so it's much cheaper and better to keep a family in place. And sometimes families fall on some hard times and they just need some rent arrearages, or they just need some utility help. And that's what that 515 is there. And then of course, no presentation is complete without some pictures. And so we have some pictures there as to exciting things that have happened, including the Englewood Senior groundbreaking. When we talk about what we've done, as you know, the mayor has a goal of 20,000 units by 2030. Atlanta Housing has said we will do 10,000 units by 2027. And so we always want to show where we are in that process. And so you see from the time that our strategic plan launched in July of 2022, we've created about 4,281 units. So that's 43% of our goal. So we're ahead of where we thought we would be at this time. And you see the breakdown there. If I don't want to spoil the excitement, let's go to the next slide. And we're really excited about this next slide because this shows the acceleration of what has happened. So if you think of our strategic plan, looking at the third sort of book of FY 2023, this shows what we've created. So in 2023, you look at, it was 496 units created. And then you look at 2024, fiscal year 2024, we have 795, a 60% increase. And then if you look at what we project for next year, it's 13,050. We think that the trajectory is just excitingly going up because we have to have more supply. And this shows more supply. We also wanted to show, if you look at the dark blue, and I don't know about all these colors, so I'm probably not calling it right, but the blue on the bottom, it talks about what we're doing with our vacant land. And so you see that there's units that we are coming out of the ground with that vacant land. So we're excited about this slide. If you look, we've passed the largest budget that Atlanta Housing has ever passed, $533.9 million. That is up about $81 million from last year. And here we just have some highlights of what we are funding. If you look at our total budget, about 83% of that budget is going either to development or to direct housing assistance. And so we are happy with that amount of resources going toward helping families. There's a lot of things, the infographics on this, but the one I want to point out is the 8200. We think that if all goes well in the next several months through March or April of 2025, we will have 25 financial closings. And if all goes well, and we know how financial closings go, but we're pretty confident that these will close, we will be at 8,200 plus units. And so we are very, very happy about that. As you know, when Terry's here, she always likes this slide very much, this shovels in the ground to show that there's actually things happening. And so we wanted to show that. There's Madison Reynoldstown, which I had the privilege of working on when I worked with another housing agency in the city. You see Herndon, you see Englewood, you see Eastlake. And just on this page, there's 969 units. And there's about $382 million of investment in those units. So the last slide is talking about some events that are coming up. We have the back to school event, which is always a good event. And then the Civic Center redevelopment to keep the community informed about what's happening with that redevelopment. It was going to be live, but there was some concern about the heat and our ability to cool the space that we were going to have that. So that event looks like it's going to be virtual now. And so with that, I just like to thank you all for the privilege of serving and would take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, COO. Vaughn, appreciate you being here. I'm going to start off with comments from my colleagues. We'll start off with Councilmember Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, CEO Bond. Like the last presentation, I don't have any questions, just a comment and just to say thank you to the Atlanta Housing team for your responsiveness on a number of issues we brought to y'all's attention over the last few weeks. Most immediately, I know this body here at this committee, a couple of weeks ago, we had some residents in my district at GE Tower who came to share concerns they've had with their property management as they're going through some relocation over at that site. And I've been working with CEO Lee, and just Atlanta Housing has just done a phenomenal job in ensuring that some of the complaints that we got from those tenants were addressed very quickly. We had a situation where a property manager didn't want to meet with the tenants. And as of this week, we're working on our second meeting with the property management. So just want to say thank you all so much for your support, not just for those residents, but for helping our office really do the work that we are charged to do and to support our constituents, particularly those who are most vulnerable. And I just want to give y'all a shout out because I don't think we'd be here without Atlanta Housing supporting that effort. And then just separately, you know, I don't know how sung Morgan is over there in y'all's offices, but our office really appreciate the work of Morgan Johnson, all he's done to help us connect with you all and connect with our constituents who are in Atlanta Housing Properties. And just want to make sure that he gets his flowers publicly to show y'all that he's doing the hard work to ensure that we can best support our constituents as well and do it through y'all as a vessel for that. So just want to say thank you. I'll have some questions down the line. I know y'all are doing the scatter site project in Mechanicsville for the McDaniel Glen Phase 5. So if y'all get the time and opportunity, we'd love to learn the latest details on that project. But just want to say thank you to the Atlanta Housing family for all y'all have done for our community.
Well, thank you for those kind comments. And you have identified one of Atlanta Housing stars in pointing out Morgan. And so we are excited to have him.
Thank you. Next, we have comments from Councilmember Boone.
Yes, I too would like to thank Mr. Johnson for answering the call. He's always available and accessible to the citizens and works very late in the evening. So, Mr. Johnson, we really appreciate you, and you are doing a really good job and the best that you can in a housing crisis. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Did you want to thank her?
Hey, I might as well join in on the Morgan Love Fest here. But again, you guys have been doing an amazing job, and I think just to kind of talk through some examples of how that community engagement has been going, there's a lot of new development. A lot of those shovels in the ground are in District 1. And so there's been a lot of consternation from some of the long-term residents of what that new growth looks like. And you all have been doing an amazing job of getting on the ground, doing community engagement. Morgan literally got a bus. We took residents from the MPUZ around so they could see future development. So we're going to answer all their questions. We brought developers in, and so that's the type of work that's happening on the ground. That started with CEO Lee. Even before she got into her new role, she started that in the Chosewood community. Also meeting with constituents, going to every MPU meeting, answering all the questions that they had about a lot of the new projects that are happening. And so you all right now, to me, have been literally writing a case study in how to do community engagement. So I appreciate working with you all and look forward to some ribbon cuttings as we keep working together. So thank you all for your quarterly update.
Thank you.
All right, so this
may we be dismissed?
Yes.
Thank you.
We're all done.
All right,
Thank you all. All right, so that concludes our presentations for today. So we do have a public hearing item. This is item number 1. So I move to open the public hearing.
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Dozier. I think our electronic voting system is now back up and working, and we've been joined by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 5 yeas and 0 nays. The public hearing is open. Was there no public speakers or one?
So we have Mr. Prophet Curtis Martin Harrison, but you have to specifically be talking to this agenda item. Item number 1 on our agenda is about a grant.
Let me read the caption
We're gonna
before
read
we
the
do
caption
this.
first.
I'm sorry. It's a 24C 5086, a communication from the Community Development and Human Services Committee to allow the Department of Grants and Community Development to submit the 2024 annual action plan of the 2020-2024 consolidated plan that outlines proposed activities and federal resources allocated to the City of Atlanta by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for program year 2024.
Well, yeah, you're talking about the money that was allocated for housing going on in the housing for this district, right?
Specifically, yeah. So the public hearing is about this item. So if you have any comment you would like to make about this item, you have 3 minutes.
Well, I'm saying that we're already discussing the issue of housing. Okay, so where is we talking about finances, right? Where is the money going for housing? For shelter? We talking about housing or shelters? Either one. Where is the money going for allocated for housing, for shelters that we need in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, or Atlanta? This is Atlanta. My point is, my issue is this, that we are discussing money after money, finance after finances, but I'm still seeing people that's homeless, that's needing housing, that we say affordable. And what's affordable for me was not affordable for you. What's affordable for one person, not affordable for another. I was talking to a girl yesterday with 3 kids, going from hotel to hotel. And then we get up here and we talk about affordable housing and saying what these guys did, what this community did for housing. And I don't see it, you know. So that's really my comment. I don't want to say too long, say too much.
Thank you. So we have no one else that has signed up to speak to this item. So at this point, I'll bring up Commissioner Lonan, who can speak to this item.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to turn this down. I'm sorry. The purpose of the public hearing schedule for today is to meet HUD's requirement for the submission of our annual action plan. And as you all know, it's been posted on the website. We have provided some documentation for you to review. This is specific to the last installment for the 2020 through 2024 consolidated plan. This addresses the 4 entitlement grants that the city receives from HUD. And as usual, we received a lot more application and requests for funding than available funds. But in order for us to move forward with the allocation from the federal government, we have to have the public hearing, and we must submit the annual action plan no later than August 16th of this year. If we miss that date, there's nothing we can do. We lose the totality of the entitlement funds allocated to the city of Atlanta.
Thank you. Motion to close the public hearing by Westmoreland. I'll second that.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays.
Now I'll make a motion to accept and file. I have a second by Westmoreland. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that would take us to communications. There are 2 items that the committee can hold because the appointees will appear at another time.
Yes, with no objections, I'd like to take those items as a block.
Item number 2 is 24C 5091, a communication from Council President Doug Shipman appointing Ms. Frances Bond to serve as a member of the Buckhead Community Improvement District. This appointment is for a term of 4 years. Item number 4 is 24C 5093, a communication from Mayor Andre Dickens appointing Mr. Tony Lowe to serve as a member of the Chattahoochee Brick Company Memorial Green Space and Park Board.
Motion to hold by Councilman Westmoreland, second by Dozier. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. That would bring us to Section I, ordinances for first reading. Item number 6 is 24O1390, an ordinance by Community Development and Human Services Committee to authorize the mayor or his designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta Department of Labor and Employment Services in accordance with Section 1-102C7 of the City of Atlanta Charter to accept a donation from the Annie E. Casey Foundation in an amount of $190,000.00 in order to support the City of Atlanta's Department of Labor and Employment Services concerning the following initiatives: summer jobs to permanent jobs and the summer jobs boot camp, to amend the FY 2025 budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations donated funds provided by AECF in an amount of $190,000.00 and for other purposes. Into Section J, ordinances for second reading. Item number 7 is 24O1359, an ordinance by Community Development and Human Services Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer or his designee on behalf of the Department of City Planning to amend the fiscal year 2025 general fund budget by transferring an amount not to exceed $970,785.60 from the committed fund balance to the fiscal year 2025 general fund and for other purposes.
Thank you. Deputy Commissioner Siddlebaugh.
Hey, good afternoon, council members. This ordinance is a simple transfer from our committed fund balance that is dedicated to the operations of our Office of Buildings. And it's transferring the sum of $970,785.60 to our general fund account to cover certain operational expenses. One of those operational expenses is the renewal of our Acela contract, which is the guts of our permitting system. The other is for fleet operations for our inspectors. We have a parking lot that is off-site that our inspectors use. And then I think the third one is for some training materials for a mandated ICC, which is the International Code Council, by which our permitting operations are governed, training for our staff. So the total amount for those operational expenditures is the $970,785.60 that you have before you.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Norwood, second by Councilmember Westmoreland. Can you please open the vote?
Thank you.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Item number 8 could be taken with item number 40 on the held agenda if the committee would like to do so. Item number 8 is 24O1360, an ordinance by Community Development and Human Services Committee amending the FY 2025 Intergovernmental Grant Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations in an amount not to exceed $600,000.00 for the purposes of increasing the budget amount authorized by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development on behalf of the Department of Grants and Community Development, and to authorize the mayor or his designee to enter into a housing assistance payment contract with 8 Vinera LLC for the City of Atlanta's Section 8 Moderate Rehabilitation Program for the purpose of providing rental subsidies to low-income families.
If I may just thank Jared, I was prepared to sit here for 8 and then wait until 40. He is, in fact, the gift that keeps on giving. These two...
Well, let me sound number 40,
Thank
please.
you. The gift continues.
24R3749, a resolution by Community Development and Human Services Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the Department of Grants and Community Development to enter into a housing assistance payment contract with 8 Vinera LLC for an amount not to exceed $600,000.00 for 28 units at Vinera Village for the purpose of providing rental subsidies at the Vinera Village apartments in order to house 28 low-income families under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Section 8 Moderate Rehabilitation Program. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
Thank you. Commissioner Lonan.
Yes, sir. This ordinance and then the companion resolution allows us to execute the next year's contract with Vinera, one of the city's moderate rehab properties that subsidize housing for very, very low income residents and also allows us to assist with their rental utilities.
Motion to approve by Councilman Westmoreland. I'll second. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. It's 6 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you so much.
Item number 9 is 24O1374, an ordinance by Council members Marcy Collier Overstreet and Andrea L. Boone to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to transfer up to blank $1 million and 0 cents to the Atlanta Development Authority, DBA Invest Atlanta, in order to fund the Neighborhood Small Business Impact Recovery Fund pursuant to that intergovernmental agreement for economic development services between the City of Atlanta and Invest Atlanta for the public purpose of supporting small businesses, to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to make any budget amendments, operating transfers, or other actions necessary to enable the transfer of said funds to Invest Atlanta and for other purposes.
Thank you. Dr. Clementich.
Yes, if you recall, Invest Atlanta was here before you a couple months ago, and what we did is we asked for the council's permission and the mayor to allow us to transfer the Enterprise Zone Loan Fund, and this was under the Clinton administration, the funds that we had left, and create the Atlanta Rapid Recovery Loan Fund. There was $1.1 million. That Atlanta Rapid Recovery Loan Fund was loans that we could provide based on any impact emergency that would happen for two businesses. So that could be a tornado or, God forbid, something that dramatically would impact a business's ability to operate. So after speaking directly with Councilmember Overstreet, she wanted to see or propose a way to use that tool to be forgivable at some point. Based on my conversations with the legal team, they thought it probably, with Invest Atlanta's legal team, it would probably be best just to create a very similar loan fund, but that would allow for flexibility to become a grant. Or, for example, if the business stayed in the city, if they did not lay off employees, then it could be a forgivable loan, and then therefore the business would not have to pay it back. So what we're asking or suggesting is that you would allow us, that Invest Atlanta, to take that 1.1 that we had in the Atlanta Rapid Recovery Fund, divide it in half, so 500,000, and put the 500,000 in this new fund. So you basically, City Council, would have two funds that we could help businesses with. One would be a loan completely for businesses in an emergency capacity, or it could be a loan that would have a trigger of it being a forgivable grant. So very similar. The only difference is one is a loan. That means they would have to pay back, and the other vehicle would allow us to turn it into a forgivable loan. At this point, I think it's good to have multiple tools because you never know what situation may arise, and in this case, you would be able to ask Invest Atlanta to activate either. And both of them at this point would have 500,000, but keep them separate.
Thank you. Councilmember Westmoreland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my understanding that we're still working on the substitute for this, so I'm going to make a motion to approve on condition that we have the substitute by August 5th, but before I do that, I'd like to add my name.
I also like to add my name as well. Any other? Got a couple people. Dozier, Bond.
What's more?
Thank you.
The motion to amend is open. The vote is open on that. The vote is closed. It's 6 yeas and 0 nays.
I'd like a motion to approve on condition that we receive a substitute by August 5th.
I'll second that.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. Okay. Item number 10 is 24-0-1379, an ordinance by community. Actually, there's a substitute. Everyone has been passed out. Everyone has received a copy just now. Would the committee like to move forward?
I'll move forth the substitute.
Second.
Second by Dozier. If you could please open the vote.
The vote is open. That vote is closed. It's 5 yeas and 0 nays. The substitute caption is a substitute ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee waiving Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 14, Sections 2-1541D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to authorize the city to acquire from the Conservation Fund approximately 5.34 acres of real property, including the following adjacent parcels that are listed here for development of a new park for the City of Atlanta known as Ormwood Urban Farm in the Ormwood neighborhood of Southeast Atlanta, and authorizing the Chief Procurement Officer or his designee on behalf of the city to execute all documents necessary to acquire the property, authorizing acquisition, due diligence, closing cost, signage, site stabilization, fencing, and other site development costs to be paid from the Park Impact Fee South and the Park Improvements Fund as indicated in the accounts listed below, in an amount not to exceed $2,725,000 amending the 2025 General Government Outlay Fund budget in the Department of Parks and Recreation and Department of Finance Park South Service District by transfers to and from the various accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
Deputy Commissioner Voss.
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of council. Very excited to be here today. This first ordinance authorizes the acquisition of about 5 acres of property. It's in District 1. It's in the Ormwood neighborhood of Southeast Atlanta. It was a property that had formerly been owned by Brian Harrison, who would often go by the name of Red, and so people often refer to it as Red's Farm. It has been used historically and currently as an urban farm, but it's more than that. It's actually a nice green space. It has trails, and it has plenty of opportunities for just natural areas in the Ormwood area. It's the department's intention to continue to allow farming in this plot of land. And just to speak, and there'll be another ordinance, but just to really speak to Mr. Harrison's dedication to this property. Through his generosity, through his ability to bring the neighborhood together, they've actually created a park before it was a park. And because of that, we are actually even recommending, and I'm sure Jared will sound it in a minute, that the park actually be renamed after successful acquisition in honor of Brian Harrison. It'll be known as Red's Farm Preserve. We would also like to note that this property would be a possibility to put a memorial to Mr. Harrison. That would be under a separate piece of legislation at a later time, but we are open to all of that. When I walked the property about 2 months ago, it looks like a park, it feels like a park, it does everything that parks are supposed to do, which are bring people together, and we would like to continue that legacy with the city. And so with those, I don't know if we want to read the second one at the same time, but this first paper will actually complete the acquisition, and then we'd like to produce another one that would actually rename it in honor of Brian Harrison.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? I'm going to speak, but I'll wait till after we read in the companion piece. So we have I'll make a motion to approve. We have a second by Councilmember Westmoreland. You can please open the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays. Item number 11 is 24-0-1380, an ordinance by Council Member Jason H. Winston to, excuse me, I'm sorry, there's a substitute for this too.
Move forth the substitute.
Second.
Vote is open. This substitute is in front of everyone. The vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays. The caption is an ordinance by Council Member Jason Winston is to to rename Urban Farm Ormwood to Red's Farm Preserve, to waive certain provisions of Section 138-8 and 2-2 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances relating to the dedication of public places within the City of Atlanta which are not applicable where a dedication is initiated by the City of Atlanta and for other purposes.
Deputy Commissioner Voss, I think you've said it, but if you got anything else to add.
I'll leave it to you. I know you've worked very hard on this, and I would like to take just an opportunity to really thank the Conservation Fund, the family of Farmer Red, and the neighbors that are currently working there, the Law Department, who has done a lot of work on this, Department of City Planning. These are basically 5 properties that had to come together in zoning. I know, Councilmember, you worked very hard on that as well. So just really want to appreciate everybody for their efforts on this.
Yeah, I just thank everyone who, this is something that we've been working on for over a year and trying to, acquire this land. And then it started with the legacy of Brian Harrison, and then this property was left to his family over almost 5.5 acres in Ormwood Park. And this will officially be the first city-owned park in the Ormwood Park community. So there's a lot of excitement about this. They've been using this park for many years, thanks to the generosity of Brian Red Harrison, who owned this land. We've been negotiating with his family. Parks and Recreation, the Conservation Fund has been involved. We had Department of Planning, Law. We even had a paper street that was going through. We had to figure that out with ATL DOT. So there's just been so many different intergovernmental partners that have been working on this for over a year. And I just thank all the dedication and everyone who has been involved to help make this happen. We are excited to continue honoring the legacy of Red as the city owns this land. And so this companion piece that's before you, colleagues, is about naming the park after Red. And so we're excited to do that. The community is fully behind it. And I just thank everybody again that has worked to make this happen. So I move approval. Second by Councilmember Bond.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you.
Brings us to Section K, resolutions. Item number 12 is 24R3765, a resolution by Councilmember Liliana Bakhtiari to amend Resolution 24R3625, adopted by the City Council on June 3rd, 2024, and approved by operation of law on June 12th, 2024, authorizing the contribution of a total amount not to exceed $40,000.00 to the Historic Oakland Foundation to support its Living History Capital Campaign, funding green space preservation, and as well as street, sidewalk, and trail improvements in and around historic Oakland Cemetery and for other purposes.
I'll make a motion to approve. A second by Councilmember Westmoreland. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays. Item 13, 24R3766, a resolution by Council members Liliana Bakhtiari, Matt Westmoreland, Alex Wan, Jason H. Winston, Jason Dozier, Antonio Lewis, Amir Faroki, Howard Shook, Byron D. Amos, Dustin Hillis, Mary Norwood, Andrea L. Boone, Marcy Collier Overstreet, and Michael Julian Bond, urging the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta Continuum of Care to undertake a summer point-in-time count, to undertake a summer housing inventory count, and to allocate the necessary funding to the Atlanta Continuum of Care to undertake such efforts and for other purposes.
A motion to approve by Councilmember Westmoreland. A second by Dozier. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays. Item 14, 24R3823, a resolution by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to exercise the first renewal to the agreement number listed here for senior programming services with Class Act Steppers LLC for 1 year, commencing on August 29th, 2024 through August 28th, 2025, in an amount not to exceed $140,000.00 annually on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation and for other purposes.
Deputy Commissioner Voss, welcome back.
Thanks again, Mr. Chair, members of council. This resolution authorizes a renewal of a current agreement that we have for senior programming services. This particular vendor offers services at many of our 16 senior sites, and they have performed very well. This would allow for a one-year renewal. I will take the opportunity to mention that we are currently registering for the 2024-2025 season. We have over 16 sites, and everyone that registered gets a brand new free Primetime Senior t-shirt this year. So if you have anybody in your district that wants to register, we would love to break the 2,000 mark. We had a record number last year, and we think we're going to do it this year, but thank you.
Great work. We got a motion to approve by Councilmember Boone. Got a second by Dozier. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. Would all members please vote? The vote is closed. 6 yeas and 0 nays. That completes the legislative items.
Thank you. Any parting words or comments from my colleagues? Councilmember Boone.
Yes, tomorrow, approximately 200 seniors will be traveling to the John Tanner State Park for a wonderful day of food, fun, and fellowship. I think we have 5 or 6 bus loads leaving from the C.T. Martin Recreation Center. So thank you for Parks and Recreation and Ms. Jamila Jones with Health, Fun, and Fitness for making this possible. I think this is probably our 8th year attending the John Tanner State Park. We want to keep our seniors healthy, happy, and forever young. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Oh, Councilmember Dozier.
Just a quick announcement, just for our, not just for our Oakland City residents, but for our constituents that care deeply about what's happening at Reverend James Orange Park. Tonight, the Friends of Reverend James Orange Park is hosting their monthly meeting. However, this is a special meeting because our friends with the Department of Parks and Recreation will be unveiling their upcoming plan for the new Reverend James Orange Park Recreation Center, with some details not only about what amenities are coming to the Recreation Center, but also some updates about the ongoing timeline. And so that meeting will be at 6:00 p.m. this evening at the Reverend James Orange Park Recreation Center. I hope to see you all there.
Thank you. And then lastly, just a quick reminder, council is going on recess, and there's also a 5th week in that recess as well. So we won't see you back in the CDHS committee meeting until August 13th, but we'll see you at full council on August 5th. With that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.